Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. We have been talking about the divisional charts and we have been focusing a lot on the Navmansh, the Navamsa chart also, the D9 chart. And we have done a lot of videos connecting the Navmansh to your career, Navmansh to your relationship, Navmansh also to different other areas of your life, and how do you see those finer elements of life as seen through the Navmansh, through the D9 chart, but connecting it to the complementary placement of the houses or the planets to the Lagna chart or the D1 chart. And I have emphasized in almost many videos that you don't see either the D1 separately or the D9 separately. You can to an extent even see the D1 separately, but you need to corroborate those instances, those manifestations through the D9. But you should never see the D9 alone. You have to see it in line with the D1 chart, the Lagna chart. So in the line of the different divisional charts, we talked about in an earlier video how different divisional charts should be seen, how the Lagna is very important, the Lagna Lord is very important, and different houses of the divisional charts mean different manifestation of that particular chart. So today I am going to talk on request from a number of people to do a video on the Chaturamsha or the Chaturtamsha, whatever you want to call it. Different texts call it by different names, and we will be doing a video on the Chaturamsha, the D4 chart. Now when we talk about the D4 chart, we are talking more about 3 or 4 areas of life. We are talking about mother, happiness from mother, nourishment from mother, or to just put it very vaguely in general, nourishment. Why we talk about mother? Because the first nourishment that we get, the first support that we get is from mother. But when we talk about nourishment in general, we also talk about all those areas of life which nourish us, which give us happiness. And the biggest nourishment, at least in today's time, is about money, property, assets. So if you have money in the bank, but if you are not able to make assets, for example, build houses, buy cars, buy jewelry, then what is the point? So the D4 chart or the Chaturamsha chart is more about those assets which you have bought, which you are using, which is coming to some use for you, or at least you are holding it as property, as wealth. And some extent to it you can relate to savings in the bank, but it is more about the tangible benefits that you get and the tangible assets that you have. So let's jump into understanding the different houses in the Chaturamsha chart and what do they mean to wealth and the manifestation of wealth and happiness. So let's get into what each house means in the Chaturamsha chart. Now the first house is about how you get connected to that placement of the chart, that placement or the manifestation of the horoscope which the divisional chart is meant to be. So here, because we are talking about the Chaturamsha, here we are talking about landed property or assets. So here it talks about, is the person focused on getting the fulfillment of his or her desires, which is also connected to wealth and not only about assets or property. So if the first house is strong, and if the first house has the Lagna Lord placed into it, the Lagna Lord of the divisional chart, then it means that the person's focus is on getting fulfillment of his or her desires, which can also be connected to wealth or landed assets, because this is the Chaturamsha chart. Now if the second house has strength, strong dignity, then the person can make a lot of accumulated wealth, which the second house represents. This is also savings from accumulated wealth, and through that you are making property and you are purchasing property. This can also show whether the person is getting emotional fulfillment from wealth or not, or there is some lineage connected to the property or not. The third house is about how much effort and courage you are ready to put in to acquire wealth, and how much you are ready to work for wealth, and do you have to put in more effort to work for wealth or less, and how much courage you will have to be able to go and get your wealth, and also from which avenue you may get your landed wealth from, assets that you will build from. Now the fourth house focuses on all those kinds of wealth which are tangible assets, more focus on property, landed property and assets. So if the fourth house is strong, then there is larger avenue of the number of property you may get, kinds of property you may get. So fourth house defines how many what kind of property you may get and how many units of the property you may get. It may also define whether you have houses or actual land, or the types of houses also, basis which planet go into the fourth house. The fifth house is the house of your Purva Punya. So this also shows inheritances or money connected to assets connected to father, or lineage of father, or given from father, or connected to father, or even working with father to be maybe making your landed property or building assets. So this is the blessing given to you by the zodiac, whether you are able to accumulate wealth and get landed wealth also. And is this the kind of wealth or assets which you like, which you desire and you get? The type of wealth that you get will be seen from the fourth house, but whether you are getting the kind of wealth or the asset that you want, that you actually wish, will be seen from the fifth house. So this is more like a given to you by the zodiac, blessing given to you by the zodiac. Now the sixth house is definitely a challenging house for the Chaturamsha or the Chaturtamsha, or to make property. If more planets go into it, especially the Lagna Lord, which shows that through your life you will have to battle for wealth. You will have to focus on overcoming competition, overcoming jealousy, overcoming greed, even from maybe your kith and kin, to be able to make property, to be able to make wealth. So this is definitely not a good house. If more planets go into it, more benefic planets go into it, the Lagna Lord of the Chaturamsha goes into it. The seventh house is about how much you make wealth, or you create wealth with others or for others. For example, if you're building houses for others, or you are into real estate, even purchase of land, or construction, or in construction industry, or building assets with others or for others, which the real estate industry means, then that kind of wealth that you acquire is seen from the seventh house. This is also how others see you, in whether they see you as somebody who is a landlord, as somebody who is a real estate mogul, like a Donald Trump is known by others as a real estate mogul. We all know about Trump properties. The eighth house is the longevity of the property itself, whether the property will remain with you for long, or you will be having to let go of the property, or you may be separated from the property. If it is in good strength, if it is in good dignity, then it also shows inherited property also. This can also show long-term losses that you get from property. If this is a house with more planets in it, the Lagna Lord goes into it, or benefits go into it, which means that you have to overcome a lot of challenges to keep the losses from property. The ninth house is the house where you may also be giving property connected to religion, connected to your dharma, connected to duty, or connected to even education. So you either make property through these, or you get property connected to these. For example, building property which is connected to religion or dharma, or to your duty, or connected to your profession also, or to have maybe a temple or a religious place within your house also, or giving property to such causes which are connected to these. This is also property got through your higher efforts, through your education, through higher qualification, also maybe connected to your lineage, connected to your parents, connected to your forefathers house. The 10th house is the house where, if in good dignity, it shows the money acquired, the assets built through your career. However, this may also take you away from the place of your birth, and this is also about how much karma you do, and that gets you more property. So your direct karma or karmic debt or karmic connections giving you property connected to your 10th house. The 11th house shows how much property you make, or assets you make, or money you make, or wealth you make, or even happiness that you get through your social connections. Maybe through your friends, maybe through your social network, and also if you're building property connected to large causes. For example, some people may make a big property and then give it for foundations, give it connected to some NGOs, or build property, for example, for some religious institute, or maybe for educational purposes, or for maybe climate change. So something connected to a large cause that you have, something which you can relate to. This also shows that you're taking money from society and making your wealth, maybe even getting into loans or debts, especially if there are inimical planets getting into the 11th house. The 12th house shows that you may waste a lot of money, even waste away your property or your assets for your wish fulfillment. Sometimes you may have a lot of accumulated wealth which you may waste to build a house of your dreams. Sometimes these can also be unreasonable desires that you have, like a Michael Jackson making his Neverland, or spending a lot of money on your lust or lustful expenditures which is connected to your wishes and desires, and sometimes you lose a lot of wealth there. Sometimes you may spend a lot of money, sell all your other assets to build just one asset which is your dream house, and you may spend and splurge money on that kind of asset. So if you splurge money on lust, it can be outside of your house, going to such places where money doesn't come back, even gambling, going to prostitute, going to bars, strip bars, or going to poker places, or if it's in good dignity, even making property much far away from your birthplace, even in foreign lands. Now the number of properties that you may build is also connected to the number of benefics which go into the 4th house of the Chaturamsha. For example, if more benefics go in a friendly place or a friendly sign in the 4th house, then that many properties you may own. For example, if the 4th house is Cancer sign and you have Moon, Jupiter and Venus, all three are friendly to the Cancer sign, then you may make 3 properties. It could also mean that either you have or hold 3 properties at the same time, or in your life you buy and sell 3 properties, or you live in 3 properties, good properties through your life, and not those which you're forced to and you're not enjoying. Benefics mean you enjoy the property, you like the property, you own the property, or you own and sell the property, or you hold the property at any given point of time. If there are malefics there, then it shows that you may not be able to hold a property for long, or you buy or sell the property. And it may also be connected to the dasha of the malefic which goes in the Chaturamsha. Acquiring a property may be in the dasha of a benefic which is placed in the Chaturamsha, but challenges in the property, gaining the property, holding the property, purchasing or gaining wealth during that time, or gaining assets during that time, may be connected to the dasha of an inimical planet or a dasha of a beneficial planet which is either placed in the Chaturamsha or aspecting. Now the kind of planet which goes into the Chaturamsha will also tell you a lot about the kind of property you may own. If it's Sun which goes into Chaturamsha 4th house or the Lagna and is in good dignity, then it means that you may stay in a more royal property or a palatial property, a big property. Sometimes these property may also be connected to some responsibility that you have, which means you're working in a certain place and the place of work gives you, because of your leadership, it gives you a house to live in. A lot of organizations give houses for their CEOs and the MDs, the chairman also to live in houses. So this can also be a government gifted property or property in which you stay because of your responsibility or government responsibilities. If it is the Moon, then it shows that there may be water body around your house, there may be swimming pool in your house, it may be a very luxurious house. In any case, it will be very nourishing, and it may also connect you to a lot of emotional bond that you have. There will be very strong emotional connect to that house, and you will feel very nourished both at a worldly level, material level, and also at an emotional level. If it's Mars which goes either into the 4th house, here we are talking especially the 4th house of the Chaturamsha, or in the Lagna, here you may be living in large houses, but which are very secure houses with large gates, electrified fences, big security, gated communities, or even connected to real estate, or purchasing land and constructing the house on the land rather than staying in an apartment. If it's Mercury, then it is about being very practical about your planned assets. If you feel that you may not be able to hold 2 properties at a given point of time, then you may buy one assets and keep some other money in some other distributed wealth, some in art, some in jewelry, some may be in the share market. So you'll distribute your wealth, and your home will be a very practical home, maybe even connected to your work. Some space of your home may be even a home office, for example. The energy of the house will be very vibrant, it may be very colorful also. It will have a very youthful, even a modern perspective. If it's Venus, then definitely it will be a very luxurious house. It may also be a palatial house, but you will find that in such a house you will have all sorts of things that you want connected to either entertainment or nourishment or food. So all sorts of those things which nourish you, both to your conjugal desires. So the bedroom will be very important. The bedroom will be something which will be your focus of attention, also will be done up well. You will focus on the colors, you may focus on the paintings on the wall and so forth, and it will have all sorts of facilities. It may have all kinds of appliances which give you a very charmed life, a very luxurious, a very nourished life. If it's Jupiter, then some part of your house may have a spiritual alignment, either a temple or a meditational place. It may have large open spaces, it may have big balconies. The bedrooms and the kitchen may also be big, and there will be some materials which are connected to nature. For example, you may have panel floors or walls or wooden staircases or a chimney in the roof and so forth. If it's Saturn, then there will be some traditional connect. Either it may be old looking, not so rich looking, minimalistic house, even like a brick like structure, or having stone walls. It may even be inherited property that you own, but there will be some traditional connect, some old connect, not so rich looking house, even if it's a big one. If it's Rahu, there may be some part of the house which may have a staircase. It may be a shared property. You may have some unusual people living in the house, people from different cultures, different religions. You may also live in a neighborhood which will be very, very alien to what you are brought up or where you are born in. It may also be in shanties. You can't connect to your neighbors, or you may also have other people who live in the house who may or may not be connected to your life, connected to your family. If it's Ketu, either it could be a very small house, even a large house, but there is no emotional connect to the property or even a material connect to the property. You have bought the property because you felt it was a good deal, or you got the property through inheritance, but there is no connect that you have to the property, either to build something which is your wish or desire, or there is no material connect to it. You like a property, you build the property, you may do up the house, but you're not so keen and connected at an emotional level to the property. It's easy for you to move away from the property and maybe build another one, and not wanting to really hold on to the property for long. It may also be a property which is not bought on your own name. You may end up buying it on your spouse's name or even your children's. Now let me quickly take you through one example. This person is a lady, and she is somebody who works in the real estate industry, which can be easily seen by her fourth house being the house of Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter going into the 10th house, placed with Mars. Mars is the Karaka of property. So she is somebody who advises in the construction of property, and because Mercury is the Lagna Lord and Mercury is also the 10th Lord, which is based on planning and practicality, and Mars is construction. So she is a person connected with her career being that of an architect, and she builds assets for others, she builds properties from others, and she gains from that, and she eventually makes her own assets. This is also validated by the Navmansh, where her fourth house is ruled by Moon, and Moon is placed in a friendly sign in the 12th house, which means she will make property, but it will be very far away from the place of her birth. And this again has very strong Jupiter connect, because Moon has gone into the sign ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter goes into the 7th house with Ketu, which means she may not get property from husband, from her marital relationship. And Ketu and Jupiter placed here in the 7th house means she doesn't get any assets from husband, from a married life, but because Jupiter in the Lagna chart is connected to career, being an architect, and Jupiter going into the Libra sign of domestic life, shows that she will build houses for others connected to a career, where they established their domestic life, which means she will build residential houses for others. Now when you connect these two to her Chaturamsha, let's see what it says. Now this is her Chaturamsha chart, and again we see a very strong Jupiter connect, because again Jupiter and Ketu are in the 7th house, just like in a Navmansh. Here the Karaka of property and the ruler of the 12th house, Mars, has gone into the sign of Pisces, again ruled by Jupiter, and into the 4th house. So 12th Lord going into the 4th house ruled by Jupiter, which means she will make her property connected to real estate, but very far away from the place of her birth. and she may also hold land, because Mars is also connected to land and constructed properties. And again Jupiter and Ketu in the 7th house, which means she will not get property or asset through her husband. But Moon and Rahu going into the Lagna in the Chaturamsha, which means she will make very luxurious houses, she will have a very emotional connect to a house, and there will be something unusual about the house, the structure of the house, the shape of the house. So she purchases a property, breaks down a part of the property and constructs a staircase in the property and makes it different from the surrounding in which her house is. And because Mars is in the 4th house, she has both a constructed property as well as she has land. So friends, understand your different divisional charts and surely your Chaturamsha better, because this will tell you what kind of property you are getting, what kind of assets you are making, what kind of wealth you are acquiring. So friends, look into your own Chaturamsha and understand firstly the 12 houses of the Chaturamsha, which planets are placed in those houses, either benefic planets or inimical planets. Look at the dignity of the respective signs, look at the aspects on those houses, look at the doshas or yogas placed in those houses, and the dusthanas also become very important in the Chaturamsha. And which planet is going into which house becomes very important, especially planets going into the Lagna, planets going into the 4th house, planets going into the dusthanas become very important in the Chaturamsha. Friend, this is one part of the video that I am making. I will follow up with another part of the Chaturamsha where I will give you more examples connected to the Chaturamsha, because I feel this is a place, or this is a divisional chart which requires more understanding, in-depth understanding. Superficial understanding of the Chaturamsha will not lead you to a better understanding of where the property you will get, kind of property you may get, whether luxurious or not luxurious, through what avenues you will get, whether you hold on to it, whether you will make losses. And do look forward to my part 2 of the Chaturamsha, where we will talk more in detail about what the Chaturamsha stands for. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the link given below. Till some other time, some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.